And we're back. This is PodLogic. I'm your host, Johnny Podcast, and today we're going to be talking about planning out 25 weeks worth of content. Now, I know when you're first starting out in your podcast, this can seem like a daunting task, and to be honest, it is a lot to try and come out with 25 episodes worth of content. And for a lot of the podcasts that I focus on are mostly interview-based podcasts. And while this will apply more so to them, this can apply to really any type of podcast. And I'll explain it as I go through. And Catherine O'Brien, shout out to her at Branch Out Programs. I think she stole it from somebody else, the concept of this. I think it's like the 25 bucket list. Anyway, essentially what you're going to do is you are just going to sit down with a pen and a piece of paper or at your laptop, and you're simply just going to type out 25 topics that are related to your podcast. You don't have to use all of them, but you need to write out 25 ideas that you think could be worth talking about and that you think you could expand upon within your certain area of expertise. Now, I want to be clear about that. This isn't just 25 random things that you think you could do a podcast episode about. These need to be things that you are confident that you could talk about for an extended period of time. Or, I mentioned I would come back to this earlier, in the case of where you're doing an interview podcast, you think that you could reasonably find somebody that could come on and talk about this with, and that you could ask intelligent questions to about any of these topics. And while 25 seems like kind of a stretch, maybe you can get to 25, but 25 isn't for everybody. So I still want you to list out 25, but be strict with cutting ideas. Okay. We want to be more focused on quality rather than quantity, and being able to list out as many ideas as possible will help you filter down what are truly the most important things to you. Maybe you move those up to the top, those 5 or 7 things that you're really, really knowledgeable on, that you can really hit home on. Those are the things that you can drill down on and make great episodes out of. And then now that you've got 7 weeks worth of content ready to go, you revisit those other, what's 25 minus 7? So however many other topics, you revisit those, flesh them out a little bit more. Maybe as you're doing those episodes, you come up with new ideas, but that's really just something to get your brain rolling, because if you don't commit yourself to sitting down and actually writing out things that you're going to talk about, and you just sort of rely on your ability to find people to come onto your podcast or your ability to go off the top of your head. And if that's the type of content that you're putting out, that's perfectly fine. But if you are promoting yourself as an expert in something and you're just sit down and press record and start talking with absolutely nothing planned out, I wouldn't advise that. Maybe it works for you, but that's just not the route that I would take. I really would consider listing out all of these topics. That way it gets you thinking about your podcast. It's getting you thinking about your content, how you want to approach it. Are these topics, even though they're topics relevant to the niche that you're working in, are they something that you even want to record episodes about? Maybe they're just parts of your industry or parts of your niche and you don't even want to touch them. That's great. Throw them off of your list, but at least you know those are things that you want to avoid, so you can really focus on the things that are important to you and to your podcast. Feel free to tweet at me if this has worked for you, if you've done this exercise. Again, shout out to Catherine and whoever she stole that idea from. Catherine, please call me out. Let me know who it was. But let me know on Twitter, tweet at me. Let me know if this is something that was beneficial to you. Again, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Please subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Share the episode with somebody, and I'll see you next week.